Hi, my name's Kel Cordell, and this is my family. I show you a picture of my family because for this media clip project I've chosen to talk about Down syndrome. And the reason that I'm talking about Down syndrome is because I had a member of my family die when they were 2 weeks old, and he would have had Down syndrome had he lived. His name was Newt, and from having him as a brother and from going through that situation, it really gave me a lot of motivation to learn about Down syndrome, not just from this class, but throughout life. You know, I wanted to know what kind of obstacles I would have faced as a brother, what kind of obstacles my family would have faced having a member of us have Down syndrome. And now, with this class and with this project, I also have to look at what kind of obstacles would a teacher have faced in trying to teach Newt. You know, what could a teacher have done to give Newt the greatest chance for success outside of high school? Because as we all know, there's a real world out there, and at some point, hopefully, we're all equipped and able to go out into it and be successful. So that's why I chose Down syndrome, and hopefully throughout this project we can both learn a little more. Before we get into the teaching aspect, I just want to give you a brief and simple summary of what Down syndrome is. Now, more than 90% of the time, Down syndrome is caused by trisomy 21, which, put simply, a child has 3 copies of chromosome 21 instead of the usual 2. This results in cognitive impairments, also known as mental retardation, physical impairments, and certain facial characteristics, as you can see in these pictures. 1 out of every 691 babies are born with Down syndrome, and when it comes to what causes it, most of the time it's simply just a mistake in the cell division, and it's not something that's usually inherited. What does this mean for teaching? What are some things that teachers can do that will help this child have the greatest chance for success outside of school? And one of those things is have high expectations. You know, set that bar up high. Don't feel pity for this child. Don't feel sorry for this child, and not push them, because you have to push a kid whether they have Down syndrome or not. You need to teach to the individual abilities and needs of the student, even if they have Down syndrome. Don't let that label get in the way of what you need to teach them. You know, we're all individuals. We all have different strengths, different weaknesses. So even if you have a disability like Down syndrome, or if you have a disability like autism, you know, we still are individuals, and we still have individual things we need to work on. Small group instruction. Sometimes we learn good in small group instruction, and with Down syndrome children, a lot of times small group instruction and even one-on-one instruction is needed. Now keep in mind that you do want to keep these children in a regular classroom setting as much as possible. Model the task. If you have something, you know, maybe a little difficult for a student with Down syndrome, you might want to model the task first. Show them how it's supposed to be done, and then as a model, that might help them accomplish the task even better. Seat the student away from windows and doors. Sometimes children with Down syndrome can be easily distracted. So if they're sitting by a window, they might look at those trees, they might look at those birds, they might look at those people. Or if they're sitting by a door, you know, they might hear all those hallway sounds, see those students walking by. So to keep their mind on the task at hand, you might want to seat them somewhere away from the windows and doors, and it'll help them concentrate. And lastly is patience. You know, have patience with these children. Have patience with any child that you teach, or any child or student that you coach. Have patience. When we talk about giving a student with Down syndrome the greatest chance of success, or the greatest chance to succeed, it's important to remember that there is assistive technology out there for teachers to use to help give that child that best chance. And these are things, you know, they could be smart boards, but they could also be things as simple as slanted desks, shorter pencils, and spring-loaded scissors like you see right here. I know this presentation was somewhat brief and it didn't even really break the ice, but hopefully it did give you a little insight. And let's remember from here on out to always be compassionate to those who are different.